A clap of thunder broke the bonds of sleep within my brain, so that I started up like one who has been roused by violence. With rested eyes I looked about the scene. I rose erect, and with attentive gaze I sought to recognize my whereabouts. In truth, I found that I was on the brink that rims the gulf of the abyss of woe, which echoes with eternal cries of grief. So deep it was, so cloudy and obscure, that nothing there could possibly be seen. However, I might peer into its depth. Into that sightless world let us descend, the poet said, his face as pale as death. I shall go first, and you shall come behind. Perceiving his pale hue, I questioned him. How shall I go, when you, my only hope of comfort for my fears, do fear as well? He answered me, the anguish of these people who suffer here has painted on my face compassion, which you misread as fear. Let us be on. Our road is long and hard. Then he stepped forth and ushered me within the topmost ring that girdles the abyss. But in this ring, as far as one could judge, there were no cries of woe, but only sighs that quivered in the everlasting air. This murmur came from multitudes of men, of women, and of children who bewailed but suffered not. My goodly master said, You do not ask me who these spirits are we see about us. Ere we pass beyond, I wish to tell you that they have not sinned. Though they are worthy, this does not suffice, because they never have received the joy of holy baptism essential of your faith. But those who lived before the time of Christ could never worthily adore their God, and I myself am of this company. For this defect, and for no other wrong, our souls are lost. For this we must endure a hopeless life of unfulfilled desire. My heart was stricken when I understood, for I knew that there were many worthy souls eternally suspended there in limbo. Tell me, my master, tell me, gracious Lord, said I, desiring to be assured of that great faith that overcomes all error. Has no one yet, by merit of his own or others' help, gone forth from here to heaven? Unto my hidden thought he made reply. When I was still but new in this estate, to us came one upon whose noble brow a great victorious diadem shone forth. From here he led away the shade of him who first was his father, Abel's shade, his sons, Noah's and Moses, giver of the laws, the shades of Abraham the patriarch, of David, Israel's, his sires and sons, and Rachel's, for whose sake he did so much, and many more. These he beatified. Moreover, know that previous to that time no human spirits ever had been saved. We did not halt while he was saying this, but walked along until we had passed through that mighty forest of suspended souls. We had not traveled far from where I swooned when I beheld a point of flame that cut a hemisphere of brilliance in the night. Although we were a little way removed, we still were near enough to ascertain that honorable folk were gathered there. O you who honor every art and science, what souls are these? And what their special worth that keeps them thus up from other souls apart? He said, their honorable fame on earth, resounding in their mortal life, has gained them grace in heaven and this distinction here. Meanwhile I heard a voice that said to us, All honor to the poet sublime whose shade had left us, but returns to us again. And when the voice was silent, I beheld 4 stately shades that were approaching us, with neither joy nor sorrow in their mien. My goodly master now began to speak. Mark him, who with that mighty sword in hand comes leading those 3 others as their master, for he is Homer, sovereign lord of poets, and Horace next to him there, the satirist, Ovid the third, and Lucan walks behind. Since each one shares with me the name of poet, said by the single voice a while ago, they honor me, and doing so do well. Thus did my mortal eyes see congregate the great disciples of that Lord of Song, who like an eagle soars above the rest. And when they had communed a while together, they turned to me with courteous regard, at which my gracious master smiled. And then they honored me still more, inviting me to join them, so that I became the sixth of that great company of intellects. Thus we advanced until we reached the light, and talked of many things, but silence now were sweeter than the sayings of them then. We came before a noble citadel, engirdled 7 times by lofty walls. A lovely river served them as a moat. This we crossed over as upon dry land. And with those sages I passed 7 gates, and came upon a meadow fresh and green. Spirits were there, with grave majestic eyes, whose bearing showed their great authority. They spoke but rarely, and in quiet tones. Now we went onward from the meadow's edge to a high open place, suffused with light, from where the company could all be seen. And there upon that green enamelled sward were shown to me the spirits of the great, whom to have seen was glory in itself. I saw Electra, with a throng of souls, among whom Hector and Aeneas were, Caesar in armour with his falcon eye. I saw Camilla and Penthesilea, and King Latinus also, who apart was sitting with Lavinia his daughter. I marked that Brutus, who was Tarquin's scourge, Lucretia, Julia, Marcia, and Cornelia, and by himself the valiant Saladin. Then, as I slightly lifted up my brow, I saw that overlord of all wise men among a philosophic family. Plato was there, and Socrates as well, standing above the others near his side. Democritus, who thought all due to chance, Diogenes and Anaxagoras, Zeno, Empedocles and Heraclitus. I saw that pleasant gatherer of verbs, Dioscorides and Orpheus and Linus, Tullius and Seneca the moralist, Euclid the measurer, and Ptolemy, Hippocrates and Galen, Avicenna, Averroes, who wrote the commentary. All that I saw I cannot well relate, so lengthy is my theme that oftentimes my words are insufficient for the fact. Our group of 6 was now reduced to 2. My leader took me by another road, forth from that quiet air to gusty storms, and I had come to where all light was gone.